Jerry, and thanks to the sponsors and Vertical Events for having us again this year. So high-grade base metals in the Cobar Basin is what Peel's been about ever since we've been there, which is nearly 10 years now. And look, we keep finding more, which is great, and that's some recent core that we discovered at our Southern Nights project late last year. So a quick look at our corporate snapshot. So 12 years listed this year, 220 million shares on issue. So we've managed to keep our issued capital tight over the 12 years. We haven't done any reconstructions. So we are a kind of a rare breed in the junior exploration end of town. Market cap as of the minute around $97 million with about $6.5 million cash in the bank at the end of the quarter. We do have another asset, which is 36% of Saturn Metals. Ian Bamborough presented yesterday, and unfortunately I couldn't be here. But look, Saturn's a very exciting company with, I think, a fantastic piece of real estate and some excellent technical people running the company. So we look forward to their progress over the months and years ahead. Looking at our substantial shareholders, we've got an interesting shareholder base. St Barbara Limited is our largest shareholder with 17.9% of our issued capital. Hampton Hill Mining and Associates is next on the register with just under 17%. Directors with a significant amount of skin in the game. And Ariki Investments, a high net worth individual, rounds out the substantial shareholders. So tightly held, not a lot of free float. And so we do rise and fall quite rapidly on relatively thin volumes. So 2-year share price performance, you can certainly see the impact that the Southern Nights discovery had on our share price, and then more recently, I guess the high grade or very high grade mineralisation that we discovered at Southern Nights in the central zone. Just the 3 board members. Cobar, this is where we've made our home. It's an easy place to make your home. It's the best part of New South Wales to be exploring in terms of geology and ease of access, infrastructure, etc. It celebrates its 150th year as a mining town this year, essentially centred on the CSA and Great Cobar deposits. We dominate the exploration landscape. You can see that it's really a mix of copper, lead, zinc, silver and gold is a make-up in terms of metal inventory that comes out of this part of the world. Peel has the largest single company land position in the Cobar Basin. And just a quick look at that map on the right-hand side, you can see there's 4 existing operations. We've got the Endeavour zinc, lead, silver mine to the north of Cobar, the CSA mine just out of town on the northern side as well, and then the Peak mine to the south of Cobar and Hera. Peak and Hera are owned by Aurelia Metals, and look, they put out some results, I think it was yesterday or the day before, that underlines, I think, the reasons that we're in Cobar. They were spectacular zinc, lead, gold intercepts from beneath the Peak mine. And if we look at this long section through the Peak mines, essentially they did some new drilling just below Peak in this area, quite deep at sort of 1,200 metres below surface, I think, roughly. But some of their intercepts, I think one of them was 17 metres at 74 grams gold. And that really highlights, I think, the reasons we're in the district. It's world-class, high-grade, long-life deposits once you can get them up and running. Aurelia picked up the Peak about a year ago, and I understand essentially the Kronos deposit paid off the acquisition within 6 months. So this is what we're chasing. This is a prize. Our focus for this year is really unlocking the next development opportunity in Cobar. We're trying to zoom in very quickly into the Wagga Tank Southern Nights discovery. It's a rapidly emerging high-grade zinc, lead, silver system. We're in the middle of a large drill out there, about 25,000 metres, and that's targeting a maiden JORC resource by the end of this half. We've made some very high-grade intercepts recently, which we believe are game-changing. We have Mallee Bull, which was our our initial discovery in the district, and essentially we've completed a development study there, and that study is now sitting with our joint venture partner, and we're hoping to have some news back from them soon. But we've got some fantastic real estate. It's a wonderful place to explore, and we've got other targets that we'd like to get to over the next 6 to 12 months that we think could easily turn into our fourth discovery. So the Wagga Southern Nights area, it's a major zinc-rich mineral system. The map on the right-hand side, when we turned up, the only part that was drilled was this part. That's the Wagga deposit, which was essentially a forgotten prospect. We picked it up from MMG in 2016 and picked it up from them and their partner for $40,000 cash and a 2% NSR, and we acquired the royalty over the top of that late last year. It's very underexplored. It was initially discovered in the mid-70s, but no work was completed at Wagga until we acquired it in 2016. And the indications are that we've discovered a camp-scale mineral system, so we've got more than 2 kilometres of strike to the Wagga Southern Nights system, and we believe there's some major structures at play that are hosting this mineralisation, but we think the potential's great to be able to build a significant body of high-grade mineralisation. So Wagga when we turned up, this is what we essentially saw. 42 historic drill holes in the database, and 24 had hit economic mineralisation by our judgment. And essentially there's a bit of an oxide gold zone sitting on top. It's relatively discrete, but certainly interesting numbers. There's evidence of some supergenes sitting in at the base of the oxidation, but it was a sulphide mineralisation, primary zinc, lead, silver, and a bit of copper and gold in the mix that really caught our attention. So our work from 2016-17 was really about validating the historic data. There was no drill collars left at surface, so essentially we started re-drilling the area. But we quickly saw that our results were mirroring the historic results, some very high-grade zinc, lead, silver intercepts, good widths. It's a stacked chute type system. Certainly a lot of what we see looks VMS in nature, and there's a conflicting ideas about whether it's truly Cobar style or VMS, and a lot of people would say that Cobar style is a modified VMS anyway. The critical thing was at the end of this work we recognised that the system showed the indications that it was much larger than I guess previous explorers had recognised, and so that work that led us to do a whole heap of geophysics which resulted in the Southern Nights discovery at the end of 2017. So what we saw was a kilometre south of Wagga we hit a couple of spectacular high-grade intercepts, and we followed that up quickly, and we got more of the same essentially. At the end of our drilling to June last year, we had about 700 metres of strike of mineralisation, a lot of it very strong. We'd also drilled in the intervening area between Wagga and Southern Nights, and we had indications that the system's alive, albeit at depth, in that zone as well, in the link zone as we call it. So we hit some massive sulphides at about 400 metres below surface, copper, gold rich, which possibly speaks to zonation in the system. But the system's open, and I'll touch on that in a moment. The Southern Nights Central Zone, 2018, I've misplaced my header there a bit, but very high grade zinc, lead, silver primarily target. So this was discovered late last year, 18 metres at 40% zinc and 16% lead with a very high grade silver and gold accessory. So strong massive sulphide intercept, and essentially our work since we hit that drill hole is to define this area to a higher degree. So we've got a couple of rigs drilling away there. We're hoping that a lot of this high-grade zone will land in an indicated resource category when we complete our maiden resource in a few months' time. But you can see some of the follow-up holes, and they are spectacular drill hits. We do see quite a lot of copper and gold as well in the system. Usually it's It's in the volcaniclastics, whereas the massive sulphide material we're hitting is generally in a turbidite hanging wall. But sensational drill hits, and it gives us a view that we have a very high-grade target there with significant dimensions. We're drilling at depth now, so our latest drill hole's 40 metres at 10% zinc and 3% lead with some silver and gold. We're essentially targeting in this area at the moment. So this is what it looks like when it comes out of the ground, and look, it's a tenor that I don't think many geologists see very often. So all the guys on site feel very privileged to be intercepting mineralisation like this. This is what it looks like in long section, and I guess I'd refer back to that peak long section, that the longer term potential is that this system will continue to grow at depth and along strike as drilling continues to occur. So Wagga Tank, as you can see, is offset to the north a little way. It is open along strike to the north and south, but our focus really is in this area and putting some more holes into here as well. Looking at the magnetics data, it does tell a bit of a story. This is the general area that Wagga Tank Southern Nights is occurring in. We've got a ring-like feature with a buried magnetic body at depth. We see a lot of epithermal textures in the rocks we're looking at, so we do wonder what that magnetic feature in the middle is, and at some point we will look to test that further. Over at Fence Line, 4 kilometres to the east of Wagga Tank Southern Nights, we've had some very good drill hits as well that indicate that there's more work to be done on a regional scale here. Moving to Mallee Bull, it's one of the highest grade undeveloped copper resources in Australia. This was a discovery made back sort of 2011, 2012. We've got a joint venture with CBH Resources, who are owned by Toho Zinc. $8.3 million for 50% was their earn-in. We're now pro rata funding. They have the Endeavour Mill, which is about 150 kilometres away from Mallee Bull. We're looking at a low capital cost start-up to life here. So the current development study that we've just completed is really, it's a small footprint dig and truck up to Endeavour, and at the moment CBH Toho are considering that. It's located on land that we own, so it ticks all the boxes in terms of access and ability to move it forward, albeit under a joint venture. Mallee Bull copper resource, look, this is we're looking at a staged development. So stage 1 is to get to about 300 metres below surface, and on the way down take out mineralisation that we can. We did do some drilling middle last year, and we got some more nice copper mineralisation at relatively shallow depths. But the bigger picture is the copper mineralisation that is at depth, where we've had some very significant intercepts going back a few years now. But it's a pipe-like structure, very similar to most Cobar style systems. So we're hoping to be able to get an announcement out soon on that. And last but not least is the JOGMEC joint venture. So the Japanese government entity JOGMEC have farmed into this project, and essentially they've earned 50% through expenditure of $7 million. Again, it bears the hallmarks of a Cobar style system, very similar in style to Mallee Bull. We've had some very good copper hits since we discovered it back in 2015. We've got unfinished business there. We've got a new structural model that we hope will give us a bit more clarity as to the geometry of the mineralisation, and we're hoping to get back in the new financial year, Japanese financial year. We also have a new prospect. It's an old prospect like a lot of them in Cobar. It's a magnetic anomaly called Baduba that BHP drilled. Oz Minerals drilled one hole there back in 2011, about 600 metres deep, and they didn't get round to doing down-hole EM. We recently ran a probe down the hole, and we've got a very strong conductor reminiscent of Mallee Bull sitting very close to this magnetic anomaly. So we've got more work to do within the joint venture going forward. an efficient targeted company, money into the ground. That's what you get when you're investing with Peel, and that was actually Bob Vassey's quote to the Fin Review, I think, in justifying their investment into us. We drill a lot. We've drilled 210 kilometres since we listed. A lot of that obviously in the last year or two off the back of our discovery at Waggatank Southern Nights. But we're making discoveries, and that speaks to the quality of our team and the quality of the rocks that we're exploring. We've done deals to get us to here so that we've got a nice tight capital structure that really lets us leverage off that and has underwritten our ability to grab the best land in the district, and that's Peel. So thank you very much.